Hello and happy holidays, everybody. This is Dave with Blueberries Games again. This week's episode is actually going to be an unboxing. I went ahead and purchased the 4 Brawl deck precons from Throne of Eldraine, and I decided instead of doing, because this week was supposed to be a Commander second video for my Oloro deck, I've been running into some issues where I'm trying to decide how to make the deck. And I think that with what I'm going to do today, I've made my decision, and it's going to make it so I can do the next video. But for the next couple weeks, we may be doing some unboxings of the Brawl decks, because they seem to be pretty popular. And they actually look pretty good. Some of them have some good stuff in them. The reason why I've decided to delay the Oloro deck is actually because of this deck, and that's why I'm going to open this today. So, I'm going to show you what we have here. We have the Faerie Schemes Brawl deck from the pre-constructed Brawl deck from Throne of Eldraine. And the reason why I've decided I may actually make a different change to the Oloro deck is because of this commander here. I wanted to make another, like, I don't have enough room because of the colors, the blue, black, white. For my Oloro, I just, there's so many options I can go with, and I couldn't decide which way to go. But after looking at him, or at her actually, the Alela, the Artful Provocateur, I decided that I'm going to actually be able to split the deck into 2 different decks with different styles, and I'm going to show you what's in the Brawl deck. And some of the cards in here are going to stay here. Some of them are actually going to go over to the Oloro deck, but I'll go ahead and show you. I'm going to open it up now, and we'll go over this deck, and then I'll explain why I made the decision I made. Most of the reason why I made this decision is because I was going to go with an enchantment theme or a planeswalker theme for the Oloro deck, and this one decided to change my mind. So let's see what we got inside the package. Alright, so every single one of these comes with a foil. It's a commander, but technically it's a Brawl commander, and you can change them into a commander itself if you want. That's what I'm going to do. The good thing about these is that they're foil right from the get-go. So my commander is already going to be foil. And here's what Alela does. She is 4 to cast, so 1 blue, 1 black, 1 white, 1 of any, for a 2/3 flying, death-touching lifelinker, where other creatures you control with flying get +1 with 0. And whenever you cast an artifact or an enchantment spell, you can create a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying. So she's going to end up being the other part, make up the other half of what I had going for Oloro, and I'm going to split it up just because there's too many cards. So the cool thing is you get a nice little deck box. I'm actually a fan of the deck box that it gave you. It even comes with a weird little way to open it. So I'm going to go ahead and open it, and let's see what else we get inside this. So they come with a couple things. I wasn't sure if it actually did or not, but it does. Alright, so the first thing you'll notice is when you open up the package, you get a life counter. It's not a bad one. It starts you off with 40 on the one side, and then on the other side it goes all the way down to 1 from 20. So it comes with a life counter. Not a bad little thing. It's kind of cool. I'm glad it comes with that. Comes with a deck box divider in the same vein as the of the life counter. Comes with an insert for just whatever. I'm going to use that, later for something different. And then it comes with the deck. And the deck is a 60-card deck because Brawl, unlike Commander, is only 60 cards. So let's go ahead and open it up and take a look at all the cards. Now, it's supposed to have an easy pull tab, and guess what it doesn't have? It has it, but it's not easy because it's not working. So I'll go ahead and open it anyway. Alright, so let's start off with what we got. Alright, so this deck, besides the Alela, has Mace of the Valiant, 3 to cast artifact. It's an equipment, and the equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each charge counter on it. And it has Vigilance, and whenever a creature enters the battlefield under control, you can put a charge counter on it. So, in a deck like this where you're creating a lot of tokens, it's going to make that creature, or it's actually going to make whatever creature it's attached to pretty big pretty quickly. Shimmer Dragon is a 6 to cast, 5/6 flyer. As long as you control 4 or more artifacts, Shimmer Dragon has hexproof, and you can tap 2 untapped artifacts you control to draw a card. Workshop Elders is a 7 cast 4/4. Artifact creatures you control have flying, so that's not bad actually. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target creature artifact, target non-creature artifact you control become a 0/0 artifact creature, and if you do, put 4 +1/+1 counters on it. So it's an interesting way to go about it. Banish into Fable. And remember, a lot of these are cards that aren't available in regular packs of Throne of Eldraine. They are definitely, from what I understand, available in the Collector's Edition packs. Alright, Banish into Fable is a 6 cast instant, and when you cast this spell, your hand, from your hand, copy it if you control an artifact, then copy it if you control an enchantment, and you may choose new targets for the copy. And you return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, and you also create a 2/2 White Knight creature token with Vigilance. Smothering Tithe. I love this card. It actually creates a lot of mana if you need it to. Alright, so Smothering Tithe is a 4 cast enchantment. Whenever any opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2 colorless. If the player does not, you create a colorless treasure token with tap it and sacrifice this artifact to add 1 mana of any color. Anybody who knows what a Lotus Petal is, basically it creates Lotus Petals. So it's not bad. It's actually really good. Next is Sephara Sky's Blade, 7 to cast, 7/7. You may pay 1 white and tap 4 untapped creatures you control with flying rather than pay its mana cost. It's a flying lifelinker, and other creatures you control with flying are indestructible. Not bad. Massacre Girl. I like this card. It's 5 to cast, 4/4 menace, and when it enters the battlefield, each other creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. And then if a creature dies this turn, it goes again, so you do -1/-1 for each creature again, other than her. So it can actually create some good chaos. Kai's Wrath, good card. Destroy all creatures for 4. You gain life equal to the number of creatures you controlled that were destroyed this way. Like I said, the Oloro deck, actually, I believe I put this in there as well. It's good for control, especially since it's still only a 4 to cast, basically Wrath of God. Bag of Holding, 1 to cast artifact, and whenever you have to discard a card, you can exile the card from your graveyard. Basically, you put it underneath the Bag of Holding. 2 tap, draw a card, and discard a card. And then 4 tap it and sacrifice Bag of Holding and return all the cards that are under Bag of Holding to their owner's hand. Temple of Silence. Wow, this is my first one opening them. The actual, usually when Wizards does a box set, they give them all the same symbol. I'm seeing here now that the Throne of Eldraine symbol's on them, the M20 symbol's on them. That's pretty cool. So they're basically from the actual sets. So Temple of Silence enters battlefield tapped and taps to add a blue or black, and you can scry 1 when it comes into play. Watery Grave is the Shockland version of Underground Sea. It's the blue-black Shockland. So pay 2 life or enters the battlefield tapped. All That Glitters is 2 to cast enchantment. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. I'm actually a fan of this card. I'm hoping I have a whole bunch more copies of this just so I can make a budget deck out of them. Animating Faerie, 3 to cast, 2 flyer with adventure, and the adventure is target non-creature artifact you control becomes a 0/0 artifact creature, and you put 4 +1/+1 counters on it, and it's a 2/2 flyer itself. Corridor Monitor, lots of shenanigans can happen with Corridor Monitor. It's 2 to cast, 1/4. Right off the bat, that's pretty good actually. And when it enters the battlefield, untap target artifact or creature you control. You can actually just blink him in and out and keep doing all that. You know, there's some combos with him. Frogify is 2 to cast enchantment. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a blue frog with a base power and toughness 1/1. Basically, it helps eliminate opposing commanders. You can just make it a base 1/1 creature that does nothing. Witching Well, 1 to cast artifact, 1 enters battlefield, scry 2, and for 4, sacrifice it, and you can draw 2 cards. Shine Chaser, this is one of the cooler cards in here. When I started playing Arena a while ago, and this was one of the things you could do was play these decks on Arena. He shined, no pun intended. He was really good. Or she, whatever that is. I can't tell which one that is. But how about it? We'll go with it. 3 cast for a 1/1 flying vigilance, and it gets +1/+1 as long as you control an artifact, and +1/+1 as long as you control an enchantment. So it could be a 3/3 flying vigilance for 3. And in this deck it usually is. Arcana Sail is the catalyst for getting your combos and whatever you need in your hand. It is a 4 to cast 3/3 flying artifact bird. That's important because it counts as an artifact when you need it. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact or enchantment card from your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library. So he kind of finds what you need. Alright, the eggs, it's one of the many crappy artifacts you play just because they work very well with each other. Golden egg enters the battlefield, you draw a card, so it's always great for 2. Then you can play one tap it and sacrifice it, add 1 mana of any color, or pay 2, tap it and sacrifice it, and you gain 3 life because it's a food. The card with which is in every single one of the Brawl decks and is one of the more important cards when it comes to Commander or Brawl in general. All of them. 2 to cast artifact, and you tap it to add a mana of any color that is identical to your commander's color identity. So in this deck, our commander is black, white, blue. It would add either one of those colors. It's a really good card. Even though it's in the common slot, this probably should have been in an uncommon or rare. It's a really good card, especially for commander. I don't know much about the Brawl. 60 card decks, it's a little different. But with Commander, it's really important, especially in 3-color decks. Angelic Exaltation. 4 to cast, enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. It's like a beefed-up Exalted. Ancestral Blade is a 2 to cast artifact equipment. It's a white artifact, which is, a little weird that they made a couple of them that were colored artifacts, but they've done it in the past. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 soldier, and then attach this card to it. And then the equipped creature gets +1/+1, and it costs 1 to equip. So if it dies, you can do it. You can equip it to something else. Conclave Tribunal, 4 to cast enchantment with Convoke. Convoke says that your creatures can help you cast this spell. Each creature you tap while casting a spell pays for either 1 or 1 mana of that creature's color. What it does is when it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. So that includes anything other than a land. That's pretty useful. Commanders, planeswalkers, just about anything you need. Prison Realm, 3 to cast. When it enters the battlefield, exile target creature or planeswalker and opponent controls until it leaves play, and when it enters the battlefield, scry 1. So while Conclave Tribunal can get rid of anything that's not a land, this can only get rid of a creature or a planeswalker. So not as effective, but actually still effective. Alright, up next, Chemist's Insight is a 4 to cast instant to draw 2 cards with Jumpstart. Winged Words works actually pretty well in this deck. It's a sorcery for 3. Usually it ends up costing 2 because it costs 1 less to cast if you control a creature with flying and you draw 2 cards. Blood-Soaked Altar. This actually was pretty interesting. I'm not a fan of it. I played with it while I actually played this Brawl deck while the arena event was going on, where you got to choose your deck and play with it. I wasn't really a fan of this one, but I'll go over it. It's a 6 to cast artifact. Tap it, pay 2 life, discard a card, sacrifice a creature, create a 5/5 black demon creature token with flying, and activate this only when you can cast a sorcery. I didn't like the card. I wouldn't play it myself. Alright, Law Mage's Binding. 3 cast enchantment with flash, so it can be played anytime you want as an instant. Enchant a creature, and it can't attack, block, or activate abilities. Mortify, 3 cast instant, destroy target creature or enchantment for 1 black, 1 white, and 1 of any, not bad. Empyrean Eagle, 3 cast 2/3 with flying, and other creatures you control with flying get +1/+1. It's basically a Lord. Excuse me. And Heraldic Banner, same thing. It's kind of a Lord style effect. When it comes into play, choose a color. Creatures you control of the chosen color get +1/+0. And the benefit of this guy, being a half, it only gives +1/+0 instead of +1/+1. So it's not a full anthem, but it also taps out a mana of the chosen color. So it's actually kind of a mana rock, kind of an anthem. It's pretty good. Shambling Suit, 3 to cast, star 3. Its power is equal to the number of artifacts and enchantments you control. In this deck, you can get pretty big. Scrabbling Claws is kind of, I guess, their way of being defensive. 1 to cast, Target player exiles a card from their graveyard, and then you can pay 1 and sacrifice it to exile a target card from a graveyard and draw a card. Guild Globe, 2 to cast. When it comes into play, draw a card, and you can sacrifice it to add 2 mana of different colors. And you'll notice the theme, you're sacrificing all these because they come back in some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure if this one had Dance of the Man's in it or not, but that would be the way I would do it. Mana Geode, when it enters the battlefield, scry 1 and add 1 mana of any color, so it's another mana rock. And then we've got some plains, some islands, some swamps. Alright. I guess we're going to go into the, hopefully it's not anything but just non-basics now. Azorius Guildgate is the blue-white enters the battlefield gate. Command Tower, everybody's got to play one of these, whether it's Commander or Brawl. It adds 1 mana of any color of your commander's identity. I like these over the other Command Towers I have. I'll be swapping them out on the more expensive decks. Dimir Guildgate is the blue-black gate, and it's a battlefield tap, but to add one of each, either one of each color. Same thing with this one, Backwater, only when it comes into play you gain a life. Emergence Zone. Adds a colorless, and then you can pay 1 and tap it and sacrifice it, and you may cast spells this turn as if they had flash. If there was a way to recur this, it would make more sense to me, but you can't here. Faux Fetches. Evolving Wilds is the Faux Fetch. You tap it, sacrifice it, and search your library for a basic land and put it on the battlefield tapped. Fabled Passage is basically a Faux Fetch, but it can come into play untapped. Alright. Orzhov Guildgate is the black-white, enters the battlefield tapped gate, a dual land. Scoured Barrens is the one that comes into play, you gain a life, black-white. Tranquil Cove is the blue-white one that comes into play tapped and you gain a life. And then, I don't know, I believe that this is something, I don't know. No, I thought that it came with something, but it didn't. Alright, so, anyway, so that's the cards that are in the Faerie Schemes Brawl deck. Now, I said earlier that I would explain what I'm doing. So, I was going to go ahead and do the Oloro. I promised that last week, but unfortunately, I just ran into too many problems. The problems I'm having are too many options, too many ways I can go about doing the deck. So I've gone ahead and decided that I'm going to just open the Brawl decks for the next couple weeks until I can find out how I want to go ahead and do this. And the reason I opened this first is because I wanted to go ahead and dissect this deck to see if I can't split the themes between a Planeswalker theme, an enchantment theme, what have you. With Alela, the Artful Provocateur, I think I'll have that option, so now I can go through both decks, and I'm going to end up making changes to one, and then making a new deck out of the other. So I'll make it, when I decide how I'm going to go about doing it, and which way I'm going to go for each deck, I'll put up the second part to the Oloro deck, and then I will add the Alela deck into my next theme of, I guess my next theme of videos, which will be new decks that I'm making for, viewing pleasures of all, and for my own, I'm a big brewer. I love to make decks, not necessarily as much play them, but I like to do them. Also, just so you're aware, I didn't see this in the box, but this came in the box as well. It's just tips for building your own Brawl deck. It's an introduction to Brawl. On the other side, it kind of gives you an overview of all the decks. So that was also in the box. So that's what you have here. This is what came in the Brawl deck for Faerie Schemes. This is the unboxing of it. If you had any questions or concerns, go ahead and put them in the comments below. Please do me a favor. Go ahead and start doing the things that everybody asks you to do. Like the video. Make comments if you will. I respond to every comment. Subscribe to this channel. I got a whole lot more videos coming, especially since I just got in the 4-pack of Brawl decks. I'll go over each one of them and what I'm going to end up doing with them, because I usually take them apart to add to other decks or make my own, because I'm not a big fan of precons, but I am a fan of getting the cards that come in exclusively from precons, such as the, alternate art commanders, command towers, and then, the arcane signets and stuff like that. So, anyway, like, share, subscribe, go ahead, tell your friends about it, give me a like, all that good stuff. This is Dave of Bluebird Games. I will see you next week.